Do you want to create an incredible experience in your online community that people just rave about, but that doesn't leave you feeling overwhelmed, depleted, or feeling burned out? I got you. I'm Carrie Melissa Jones, and I've helped hundreds of businesses invest in meaningful communities that leave an impact for their customers, their clients, their partners, for everyone they serve, and that leave an impact on themselves. By the end of this video, you'll have the same exact 4 principles that we guide all of our clients through to help them build meaningful communities that people remember and that have an incredible business impact. So let's get into it. The very first step of creating meaningful community experiences is to define your guiding principles. Now, what does that mean? Your guiding principles are your values, your voice, and your purpose. Your values are important because they underline how you're going to actually do everything that you're going to do. Your voice is about how you're going to show up, how you're going to sound, what words you're going to use, what the experience is actually going to feel like. And your purpose is your larger why. So ask yourself, why? No, seriously, why? Why? Are you executing this community experience, this program? Why are you setting up this community in the first place? Why does it need to exist in the world? How do you hope people are changed by it? How do you hope you're changed by it? If you can get these 3 things crystal clear, you will be leaps and bounds ahead of all the other people who are building communities out there. Now, I know what you're thinking. This step seems so simple. Voice, values, purpose. We hear about these things all the time. People skip it. What I see in my work over and over again is that people skip it, and then weeks or months down the line, they end up questioning why they've built what they've built, why they keep showing up to do it. They lose the energy. They end up even sometimes hating the very thing that they set out to build, and they were so excited about at one point. But if you start here and remind yourself of these things all the time, I guarantee you'll be more successful long term. For example, one of our clients recently skipped this step and introduced all kinds of programs into their community. They were doing ambassador programs and book clubs and webinars and workshops and daily posts and everything they could think of, they were doing. They felt completely overwhelmed by it. They felt like they were stuck in the community all day, and they felt like they didn't know what was working and what wasn't. So what we did was we stepped back and we looked very clearly what were their values, voice, and purpose. Once that was clear, we were actually able to do away with a lot of the things that they had been doing in the community and really focus in on the things that brought them joy, brought them energy, and that helped their members to actually reach their goals, make progress, show up, interact with other people. This is just one of the many things that I'm going to teach you when you watch the How to Design Meaningful Community Experiences workshop. So if you want to watch that and learn even more, go to the link in my video description and watch that now. It's totally free. Your next step is to clarify who it is that you serve. It's time to get really clear on who your target audience is. What brings them to the community? There are a couple of crucial elements to consider here. Number 1 is, what are their current attitudes and behaviors about your community or about the community topic at large? 2 is, what are their motivations? Why are they showing up? And 3, what are they hoping to get out of your overall community or the experience or individual activity that you're planning currently? My advice to all my clients at this stage is always get more specific, niche down, be more targeted in your audience. So, for example, if you serve people in the pet industry, don't just go after all pet parents. Go after those in a very specific niche. You can always expand later. But the truth is that companies like Chewy and Amazon, they go out, they can target a huge swath of people, but you've got to really focus in and really get clear on who it is that you're serving so that you can serve them far more effectively than Amazon or Chewy or any of these other big box stores ever could. Now, I have a question for you. I would love for you to answer this in the comments below this video. Who is your target audience? Who do you serve? And how do you plan to serve them? Let us know by commenting on this video right after you're done watching. The next step in creating an incredible community experience is to acknowledge the constraints of your target audience. So if you don't acknowledge the constraints of your audience, what ends up happening is you create a community or a community experience that doesn't resonate. And then you get crickets, just quiet when you run your community event or you post something in your community. So you want to make sure that that doesn't happen. First of all, what is a constraint? A constraint is just a limitation. It can be perceived or it can be very real that somebody faces in participating in your community. So this can be limitations to their time, to their energy, to their schedules. It can be limitations that are physical, mental, emotional, identities around neurodiversity and how they learn the best. Whatever it might be, it's time to think about What is going to hold your audience back from participating? We've got to be realistic about this because when we're designing for our target audiences who we know very well and have really crisply defined, right? Because we did the last step, when we were able to really get clear on that, then we can design something that will immediately resonate with them. So now I want you to ask about your own target audience. Questions such as what languages do they prefer to speak? Do they all speak English? Do they all speak a different language? Do they speak many different languages? And you need to consider that in your experience design. What time of day is best for them? Are they spread around the world? Does that mean that you're going to have to accommodate for different time zones? How do they learn best? How do they best pay attention to things? Is a synchronous event going to be the best thing for them? Or does an asynchronous chat resonate much more with their schedules, their abilities, and their own perceived limitations? These are the kinds of questions you should be asking yourself now before you just go ahead and put an event on the books or throw your community together and invite people in. For example, a client of mine launched a community a little while ago, and their audience was extremely busy executive women. So these women held very high power positions within large corporations. They had very little time to dedicate to being in online communities. So instead, what we did was we designed live events because we've learned that they would not watch replays of workshops or asynchronous videos unless they were less than 5 minutes long. So we designed live events. Most were less than 30 minutes. And we told people, join while you're on the go. Join while you're taking a walk, while you're driving. You won't need to necessarily participate actively. You can just be there and that can be enough. And that's what we tried out. We also learned that we thought people were going to be spread all around the world, but there was actually a huge concentration of people who were located in the Seattle and Portland areas in the United States. And when we learned that we could actually develop our programming much, much more around Pacific time zones so that we didn't have to accommodate for these 3 a.m. time zones that were 3 a.m. for us, 2 p.m. for somebody else. We could just really focus and hone in on that time zone. Now, over time, we can expand that, but when we're just starting out, especially with limited resources and limited time on the founder's part, we want to really be clear what time we're going to be showing up, make it a time that's going to be energy inducing for the founder, especially, and whoever else might be there. So that's how you start to think about inputting your constraints into the design process. For this last and final step, it's going to be time to bring all of these elements together. Now, when we do this, we walk clients through what we call a community experience canvas. What this canvas does is it helps you bring together all of the elements that we've considered up to this point to then bring them together into the design process and start to design the actual experience. As you'll see within this canvas, and even more in that free workshop that I mentioned, all experiences have some component of an initiation or onboarding or beginning, a middle, that's the actual experience itself, and then extension or closure. So a graduation or moving along, closing out a cohort of something. Okay, so all experiences should take this into account. That first part of the experience is about onboarding. Onboarding is critical to the future participation in the experience. It is very hard to recover from a sloppy start in a community, whether that means a sloppy start of an event or a sloppy start of actual community experience where someone joins and maybe they see 20 different areas where they could participate in the community and they have no idea where they should begin. It's very hard to recover from that. So we want to get it right from the very beginning. Next is the experience itself. Most people spend most of their time here, but they're just sort of trying things out or throwing things out there. So weekly rituals, other benefits that they could be giving to the community, events, content that they could be posting, an actual workshop that they could be running. These are things that people are constantly experimenting with, but are not actually that thoughtful about the actual experience and elements of it. Finally, it's time to consider renewal or graduation. So for our clients, what that often looks like for a membership community is a thoughtful renewal invitation after a year of membership, asking members if they'd like to continue to be part of their membership community. For other experiences, this might be the end of the road or the last time that they'll get to work within this cohort or within this specific opportunity. You should still have specific closure here, whether that looks like some kind of a graduation, whether it's just a simple certificate and some kind of closure email from you. Whatever it is, it should be designed intentionally. For example, one of our former clients every year hosts this really fancy get together in a fancy hotel in Toronto. And some of the program graduates that are part of her community go on to continue the next year, but others don't, and they still get that same closure from that experience. And those who have a great time go on to renew, and her renewal rates are very high as a result. So, as you've seen, creating incredible community experiences is an art form, but there is also a structure and a format for it. You don't have to go this all on your own. With careful planning and execution, you can create memorable community experiences that your members are going to be raving about for years to come. If you found this video helpful, amazing. I've got a very, very detailed workshop for you that is totally free that you can check out about how to design meaningful community experiences. We go into everything I've talked about and more. You can find that at the link in the video description. I hope this video was valuable for you. Make sure to let me know in the comments who is in your target audience and what do you think they want from you. If you liked this video, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Carrie Melissa Jones. You can even take a screen grab of this video of you watching it and send that to me, tag me, and I will reshare it and talk to you. We'll have a whole conversation about community design principles. Thanks for watching.